Hey guys, welcome back. This is gonna be like the third time that I've tried to record these videos. For some reason or other, my iPad won't record. It keeps saying I don't have any memory, and I know I do. So I'm not sure what the problem is. I tried it on the phone I just activated, and it cut it short on me for some reason. So uh, my wife was nice enough to let me borrow her computer and do it on her built-in cam here. So I think it's the first time it's been used, so I'm not sure how this is gonna look. Uh, anyway, just want to tell you, show you some stuff that I picked up at the local convention last weekend or this past weekend. Just had a great time. Usually get a VIP pass. I had my buddy Chris with me all weekend, and my son Brandon. We went Sunday and hung out and had a great time. Got some books and some prints and some autographs. So I'm probably going to have to break this up into two videos. So I think the first thing I'll show you is probably just the bargain books, and got some books signed and some prints. So there were several dealers had the dollar boxes, but Sunday's really the best day to shop as far as comic wise because a lot of them are cutting their prices or giving you discounts, and all the books were a dollar, were then 50 cents. And usually I promised myself I wasn't going to go through the dollar bins because I thought, well, there's probably not a lot in there that I'm going to find that I want to add to the collection. But actually, I found a few pretty good finds, and like I said, these were all 50 cents. So we'll get started on that. Here we got some Charlton, probably some of the last stuff that they published. It come around in '85, but this is Charlton Action featuring Static, number 11. Sergeant Rock, 397. Great Kubert cover. Another great Kubert cover. Sergeant Rock 396. Pretty good bargain for 50 cents. DC Comics presents number 69, Superman and Blackhawk. Didn't have this one, so glad to pick that one up. When you get a VIP pass, you usually get a goodie bag and you get some freebies in it. And this was one of the freebies I got. Reprint, it's Image Firsts, Walking Dead number 1 reprint. So pretty cool. Usually pick up this title every time I see it. I don't know why. I probably got 2 or 3 runs of it. It only lasted 5 issues. It's one of my favorites from late 70s, early 80s. Time Warp. This is number 2. One of DC's sci-fi anthologies. Got some great artists in it, as you can probably see up here. Gil Kane, Steve Ditko, Mike Kaluta. Included did all the covers on these 5 issues. Secret Origins Annual, featuring the Teen Titans, number 3. Got a great George Perez cover. And it's got another all-star lineup of artists. You can see that. This is an upgrade. Showcase number 100 from DC. Just guest starring all the characters that had previously appeared in Showcase. Really, probably a very fine plus copy. Pretty nice for 50 cents. You've got Joe Staton and Dick Giordano on the cover art. Swamp Thing Annual number 5. Brother Power the Geek on the cover. Odd little character. One of the few good series that came out in the 90s, probably my favorite from around that time, was Starman by James Robinson and Tony Harris, and later on some other artists. Just a great title. These are some I'm pretty sure I didn't have. So here's number 53. Sorry about the glare. Number 27, great cover. And number 23. Another cool little title from the 70s, Sorcery, or Chilling Adventures in Sorcery, or Chilling Tales, from Red Circle Comics Group. That's number 11. I guess Red Circle / Archie. It's got a nice Gray Morrow cover on it. And this is a title that I've probably shown before. It's just everyone knows what a big Tom Sutton fan I am. And this was like a 4-issue mini series by First Comics. Came out probably in the late 80s, early 90s maybe. But I couldn't pass anything with, and I know I've got this, I think I've got 3 of the 4 issues now. This is issue number 4. It's a Squalor. Cool Tom Sutton cover. This is issue number 2, so I think I'm missing maybe one. I think I've got a couple of duplicates of some of these. So, and the aforementioned Chilling Adventures in Sorcery. This is number 5. This is just an awesome Gray Morrow cover. This is probably the 3rd or 4th copy of this, but this was really high grade, to find in a 50-cent box from probably around 74, maybe. Okay, something from 91. Green Lantern 19. I guess this is the 50th anniversary of Alan Scott as Green Lantern. This is a beautiful Gil Kane cover. If you Gil Kane fans, yeah, John, I'm talking to you. This book is probably what I'd call a guilty pleasure. I started collecting this back in the 90s when it came out, when Image started, and I really tried to keep up with it for a while. And then I think the whole idea of Image kind of soured on me in the 90s, with their books. But I've been going back and trying to fill in some runs with this. But here's a Savage Dragon 21, Erik Larsen. Some later Jack Kirby work, Silver Star #1. Probably some of his more underappreciated work. But cool nonetheless. Can't pass up the King. Another one of, I guess, my Kings art-wise. Shown a couple covers before. This is another title. If it's cheap, I'll probably pick it up just because I love the series and I love the art and the covers and the character. But here's Ragman #4. More Kubert art greatness on that one. And this is another series I started reading back in the late 80s after Crisis, and they kind of revamped most of their characters. But this was always one of my favorite characters, and this is actually a pretty good series. I think most of the issues were written by Doug Moench. This issue number 31, with a great Pat Broderick cover. And the rest of these, I think for the most part, well, this one doesn't, but I think the rest of them have all got another reason to collect this series. It's got Gene Colan art on the interior. And this has got a really nice Mike Mignola cover. This is number 8. I think that's his old faux Wotan, if I'm saying that right. Number 1 of the series, Mike Kaluta cover. Still trying to get used to orientation on a computer after using an iPad. Kind of hard. far as where the camera goes. Number 2, more Kaluta on the cover. Gene Colan on the interiors. Really kind of an underrated series, under the radar. Number 3, I think Kaluta did most of the early covers on these. Number 4, another great cover. Number 6, not sure. I think Garcia Lopez actually did this cover. Number 7, another Magnolia cover. I think it's probably got, looks like Lady Madame Xanadu and Zatanna on the cover in her later costume. Okay, got some trades, and like I said, I'm a big fan of the Starman series, and I eventually want to get all the trades, just so I kind of kick back with a stack of them without having to pull out all the singles, which I'll probably be selling later on. But this is not sure what numbers this covers. Look on the inside. This covers issues 7 through 10 and 12 through 16. So, really cool cover. Some more Starman. This covers issues 61 through 73. Just great writing. It's probably some of the best writing for a superhero comic that I've ever read. James Robinson. And one more Starman. This covers issues 47 through 53. So I think most of these probably contain like 6 or 7 issues. But one of the few really good series to come out of the 90s. This one I was really happy to find. I'd wanted this for a while. I wasn't really concerned that much about the condition of it. It's probably very good. It's got a few dings in it, but I'd always wanted the Silver Surfer graphic novel by Stan Lee and Jack Kirby. Found a copy of this for $5. I think it's got a couple dings up in here. But other than that, it's okay. Just want to read it. And one dealer was selling a bunch of trades, and he had like a damaged section that were dinged a little bit. And this was still in the shrink wrap, and the only thing wrong with it is on the bottom corner, the dust jacket, and the corner of it was banged up a little bit. But normally these books are like $50 retail, and still in shrink wrap, and it just had this little ding on the bottom. But here we have Creepy Archives, Volume 10, I believe. Volume 20, I'm sorry. Volume 20. And the only thing wrong with it was this little ding right here. So I'm really glad to get this. You got the normal greats in these books. You got Frazetta and Infantino, Bernie Wrightson, John Severin, Bruce Jones, Alex Nino. Everybody knows how great those books are. Got some books signed. Actually, Matt Hawkins, who's like one of Top Cow's bigwigs and writers, was at the con, and had a pretty good conversation with him, me and my buddy Chris. And he was like showing us some of his books and explaining the premise behind all of them. And normally I'm not real big into buying new books lately, but this is pretty good. He gave me the first one for free, and then the rest of them were like cover price, and he signed all of them. But this looked like a really cool sci-fi series, and I read all 3 issues, and it's just great. So this is from Image, Top Cow. This is Symmetry. And you can see, here in the corner, he kind of gives his, I guess, MH, is that supposed to be for Matt Hawkins? But a really cool guy, and he really researches the stuff he writes. He was just telling us all about it. And I was like, well, this guy's pretty smart. Well, you find out he has a physics degree from UCLA, so I think the guy knows what he's talking about. But here's issue 2. Some great artwork in this book too. Like I said, he signed all these. Here's issue 3. Kind of hard to see where he put his John Hancock, but it's right there. I want to show you one 2-page spread in the first issue. I was really impressed with the art. If I can find it. Okay, here we go. Now that's just some very, very nice artwork going on there. Okay, and the highlight of that, other than getting to hang with my son and my buddy, was getting to see Neal Adams, getting to meet him for the first time. Really cool guy. I stopped at his table every day and talked with him a little bit. Got some books signed and got some prints signed. I want 2 books. I just got 2 books, because he charges $30 a signature. But I got my Justice. It's 2 of my favorite comics that he did the covers on. But Justice League '88. He signed that one up in the logo. Like I say, still trying to get used to orientation on this webcam. And got him to sign my copy of Avengers '96. Sign that right down here. See that? I think that was the first day I was there. That's one of my all-time favorite Avengers covers. And it's got a picture frame cover, so that doesn't hurt it any either. Okay. Oh yeah, another great guy was there. Bob Layton was there. Everybody knows what he did on Iron Man. Co-creator of the Huntress for DC. Just really underrated guy, but he was like one of the funniest dudes I've ever met. And he wasn't charging anything for his signature. But we got to hear all kind of hilarious stories about Jim Shooter and Marvel, and he is not a fan of Marvel comics. I might get into that later, but he was just a really cool guy to talk to. He signed my DC Superstars number 17, had the origin of Huntress, and he signed it to me down there. I did give you the cover inks on this one. And he was the co-creator of the Huntress. And he signed my Iron Man 128 up here. Of course, everybody's seen this iconic cover. This probably is, to me, he designed Tony Stark of the movies. I mean, he just gave Robert Downey Jr. his look. Was just a really great guy, funny to talk to. Another guy, I had heard his name and I'd heard of this book, heard of the book that he did, but I never had read any of it. He does a guy named Gavin Smith. He does a book called The Accelerators, and I didn't buy any of the trades or anything ahead, but I saw a print that I really loved. And I'm a big Jay Garrick fan. The Golden Age Flash, and of course Barry Allen Flash, a big fan of that too. But he had a print, and I said, there's something that looked really familiar about this to me, and I'll show you. And for you music aficionados, I'm sure you're going to know what album this is from. Barry Allen, Born to Run. It's like, wait a minute, I've seen this. Of course, it was a takeoff on Bruce Springsteen's Born to Run, and that's Barry's playing the part of Bruce, and Jay over here is doing Clarence White on the sax, but I thought that was really cool. Signed that one for me. So, yeah. Really cool guy. He is alumni from the Joe Kubert School, and he showed me some pictures on his phone of some stuff that he had drawn, and Joe did the corrections on it. He actually inked this stuff, so I thought that was pretty cool. Of course, Joe's no longer with us, so that's a pretty big deal. Just a really cool print. And like I said before, I got a couple prints from Neal Adams. Now my son, he was just as thrilled as I was to meet Neal, but he had lots of prints and lots of books, autographed and stuff. And my son, years ago, probably when he was 11 or 12 years old, I had bought him a Robin poster, and it was by Neal Adams, and I think it kind of had the Tim Drake costume going on, and that was one of his favorite posters. And I think when we moved, when he was younger, the poster got ripped, and so I don't know if he still got it. He probably got rid of it because it was ripped up. But he found a print of that poster, and so he was really tickled, and he got Neal to sign it. And a lot of the stuff, like the cover recreations and all that, I already had those original books, so I just got an image I hadn't seen before. So I thought this was pretty cool. Superman, Batman. Very cool print. Signed it for me down there. So that one's going on the wall. And especially this one, he was giving some cut rates on the last day. So a lot of these prints he had like for 20 and 25 and $40, but he cut these prints down to $10 a piece. And my son really liked this, and he said, "Well, could you make this out to Brandon and Shannon?" And that kind of got me, because he said, "Dad said we'll take this and hang it in the man cave." So that made my weekend and made my day. I just about teared up. Kind of funny though, because when he told Neal, said, "Make this out to Brandon and Shannon," he said, "Well," said, "she's like your typical girl." I started laughing, and he's like, "What?" He said, "That's me. I'm the dad." But it was pretty cool. He was really friendly. I've heard a lot of horror stories about Neal Adams, and I guess everybody's gonna have a bad day, but the guy was gracious, and seemed like his lines weren't overwhelming. But you look, there was always eight to 10 people in line wanting to get stacks of stuff signed. And I don't see how some of these guys afforded getting all the stuff, especially the books. Like I say, they were $30 a hit. So, but anyway, this was a really cool print of Batman. And what really made it is, my son had him make it up to him and me. So this is definitely going on the man cave wall. Like I say, that made my day. Okay, guys, like I say, I knew this was going to run a little bit long because got some silver and Brage stuff and some keys, and I've been looking for it. I'm going to do that in the next video. Might not get to do that till tomorrow. But anyway, hope you've enjoyed this one, and thanks for sticking around if you could have. And as always, onward and upward.